Welcome to the Omnibus Twins gaming channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Japanime Games' Kanzume Goddess. Alright guys, so this is the way that the play area is going to look. You're going to have your Priestess cards, your Bishop cards, and your Sacred Guardian cards down here at the bottom. Then these 6 decks up here are made up of all of the other unique cards in the game, completely randomized, shuffled together, mixed up, and then laid out individually. You do this so that the play area is constantly rotating and there's no advantage to any one player depending on buy or whatever. It makes for a very interesting deck builder. You're going to start here with your hand full of Priestesses and Sacred Guardians. You're going to get those all shuffled up, and then you're going to draw yourself 5 cards to start the game. This is the standard deck builder 5-card hand size. And at the end of every turn, you're going to end up redrawing and all that. So, your Priestesses here are going to have this little symbol on the bottom of them that is your buy power. So eventually you're going to want to try to upgrade those to the Bishops that have a +2 buy power. Now, if you notice, on that top right-hand edge of every single card is going to be what they cost to buy. Pretty simple deck builder standard fare here. So, what you're going to be doing over the course of the game is you're going to be buying cards from the deck here. Those cards immediately get discarded and will eventually be shuffled back into your deck. Cards are going to have some fairly interesting abilities, like this one here is going to have an attacking value that will let you directly attack your opponent, which in turn will take their God card and slide it down on their life tracker. You also can end up getting some of these cards here. Let's see if I can spot one real quick that are going to be able to add Ascendancy, which essentially ups your life value, and if you up your life value over the top of the board, you've won the game. There's a few of them in the deck here. There's some of the stars, if I remember right. Here we go. The Mermaid's one. She allows you to gain 2 faith points. Oh, sorry, I'm wrong there. The faith points are your currency. It's the energy that's going to be your life value. So, what you're going to be doing is taking these, adding them to your deck, bringing them out, and damaging your opponent, raising your own life, drawing extra cards, buying extra cards. Very simple standard deck builder stuff. Where this changes a little bit is you'll notice on the top left-hand side of a card there's always going to be 3 colored symbols. The first colored symbol, the larger of the 3, is going to represent what element that character is. The other 2 smaller symbols there are going to represent what other kinds of characters can chain off of them based off of their primary element. So, for example, this one here had the blue and the white, so I could chain off of her with Noble Star here, and then I could chain from Noble Star into any of these that had the yellow element here. Or if I were playing Scorpio here, I could chain off of her with a blue or a yellow, and then off of the Mermaid with a blue like Pandora here. So you're able to play many cards right out of your hand back to back, and some of these guys, when you play them, allow you to draw more cards, which means you can chain more and more and more. And that's kind of the point of this particular deck builder here, is to chain as many cards as possible to damage your opponent as quickly as possible and have as much buy power as possible. Other than that, it's a fairly simple deck builder. The rules are laid out in an organized manner, if absolutely terrible with tiny little print. So it shouldn't be too terribly difficult to learn. The art in the cards is all going to have this standard anime flair, with some of the cards being a lot more revealing than others, such as your Taurus card here, or your Gemini cards here, having some questionable theming. But aside from that, the art in the game is excellent. Component quality, rules, easy to learn, gameplay, very quick. 15 to 30 minute game. Now let's go ahead and see what we think about the game in general. All right, now that we're back from looking at this at the table, let's go ahead and take a look at what we think about the individual parts of this game. This is part of a series of games that are being released by Japanime Games, kind of like a games importer. This one here is from Bai Feng. They also have Tanto Kawore. They have the upcoming Barbarossa and a couple other games that are going to be coming over here fairly soon. The games that they've been bringing out are really kind of all over the place quality-wise.
Yeah.
So this one here, as far as the quality of the components goes, it's kind of, it's weird. So for your container, you get this tin, which I don't have a problem with tins, but this one here is round, which makes for a really interesting time trying to store this stack of cards in it. So you get this interesting little insert with these fingers on it that are supposed to hold the cards in place and everything, and it really doesn't work. They kind of go all over in the tin and you end up with a mess. And then they package like a little cell phone screen cleaner in there, and it's very strange. The rules booklet is on par with how strange everything else is. It's a one sheet, just long strip of paper, and the print on everything is microscopic here. It's terrible. As far as score tracking, they give you these cards to track your score on. It's not bad, but it's really, really fiddly because you take your character card and you're going to be placing them on the score tracker and you're going to be shifting them around, and that gets shuffled around on the table and you lose track really easily. So quality with the components in this game is really not its strong point. Where it does kind of come back into its own is that it's utilizing two extremely talented artists. It's using Cherry and Wang Junjian, who both have these really cool anime styles that mesh extremely well with one another. All of the unique cards are really, really well done, and even your base cards that you're going to get like 30 of have really, really clever art to them. The art, though, is another one of those weird points. You're either going to love the art in this game, or you're going to be getting rid of the game. The characters are in very, very revealing outfits. They don't go totally over the top, but they're really pushing the letter. With some of the characters, it's a lot better than others, but since you play the game using all the characters, it's not like you can just pull out the ones that you think are too much. So if you have a problem with revealing outfits on characters, this is a game to avoid wholeheartedly. With components quality in this game being all over the place, I can't give it a 1 because it's absolutely playable, the art's really good, but I can't even give it average.
Now, one point to make is, if you're going to be playing this game a lot, you're going to want to get card covers, and as soon as you do, this isn't going to cut it anymore.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to fit them in here.
The stock on the cards is really flimsy, and they don't have any kind of special covering. These are lower quality than your standard CCG card.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot. This kind of scrapes in at a 2 quality-wise for me. I have a hard time giving it anything higher.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely below average, around a 2. Not abysmal. I can think of ways that they could have done worse, but
yeah,
they really could have done better.
Yeah. With rules and with ease of play, though, this one does really kind of bring itself back up a little bit. Despite the horrific layout of the rules and how tiny the print is and everything, this is a really simple game to play. It's a deck builder. It really is. It has some very interesting concepts with the different gods that you can play as from the dual pantheons, and them having those unique powers that they get to use. That's clever. The health and ascendancy counter is a really clever idea. And then some of the cards have neat effects, and then that chaining thing is awesome.
Very cool.
The problem is that this game has no balance at all. There are gods in this deck that will shut everything down, and there are gods in this deck that will just ignore everything. There's no balance at all. And Sarah, our last play, ended up getting a totally useless character.
Absolutely. It just, honestly, I think he would have been more useful against any other character than the one you were using. You were one of those shut down everything characters. It was a difficult game that was not very fun.
Yeah. And then learning the game, you're going to basically want to just figure out what every card does before you start playing, because the print is so tiny on all of these cards, you'd be better off just knowing off the top of your head what you're buying.
We had to pause the game multiple times to figure out what each character was actually doing, so it's, yeah. The print is itty-bitty impossible.
Yeah, there's no weird symbols to learn, so that's a plus. There's no rule-breaking effects. They don't really bend the styles of play, so that doesn't become a concern. It's super easy to learn, super easy to play. It's just fiddly.
Yeah.
The whole game is fiddly. So, rule-wise, ease of play-wise, it's an average game. It makes average for me because it is trying to do something new. I mean, it fails horribly at doing that, but at least it's trying. It's not taking the old, just rip off Dominion and we're good.
Yeah.
So, I have to put this at a 3.
I would put it, absolutely, completely average.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that in a bad way, but it's not in a great way either. It's a game.
You get your money's worth for this game.
You do.
Now, as far as the fun factor and replayability goes in this game, if you are not, if you're not pushed away by the previous 2 pieces, I think this is a really fun game. It's got a lot of neat concepts, and it has enough difference from the other deck builders that I've played that it does fill this kind of, I want something new, we'll grab that. Mm-hmm. But I can't see this one holding out once I get something else to fill that niche.
Personally, I think it's a decent game. Not incredible, not terrible. It's like I said, it's a game. You play it, and that's about it. Honestly, I prefer Tanto Cuore.
Yeah,
we'll
get to that one. This one, it makes a little better than a 3 for me with the replayability, the fun factor, just because it does have so many interesting concepts in the game.
Yeah, it's got some fun twists in there, and if you choose the right character, I can see it being a really fun game.
Yeah. If you're just burned out by the unbalance in this game, pick your characters and then ignore the powers on them. And that really does help to balance the game. Because the unique player powers are a cool concept, they just didn't think about what would happen when you team them up against each other. Overall, we're gonna give this game an average rating. It's worth it if you know what you're going into and think that that's good value for your money. Mm-hmm. It'll fill a slot on your shelf until you can find something better. It's not a bad game, but it doesn't have too many redeeming features. All in all, it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
So that's about it for Kanzume Goddess. If you guys have any questions about it, need help figuring out the rules, or just want to hear about a different game, Post it in the comments. We'll get back to you later. And you guys have a nice day.